Alright, it's Saturday night and I've done a ton of prep work here. I am gonna make something that I sort of came up with a couple weeks ago that I really enjoyed, which was Kung Pao Brussels sprouts, which I loosely based on a recipe in this Lucky Peach 101 Easy Asian Recipes book. I've made this Kung Pao shrimp recipe many times, so I basically am going to use the sauce in this and do my own thing.
I thought that was Lucky Peach over there.
It is, yeah. No, it's the same. So yeah, Lucky Peach was a publication that David Chang and Peter Meehan put together. Momofuku was David Chang's restaurant, is David Chang's restaurant. But this is this sort of like compendium of pan-Asian recipes, some of which are like extremely traditional, and some are kind of, mall Chinese food or like weird bachelor pad improvisations with ramen noodles. It's actually a really cool book. But to go as a side, yes, what? What do you see? You want that pie? You want that pie? Yeah, that looks good. But as a side dish, I'm gonna do like a roasted squash number. And I've already cut this kabocha squash up, and as you can see, it's a little green. I'm a little concerned, but I'm hoping that if we cook the holy hell out of it, that it will, ripen in the oven. This is squash, and I'm gonna douse it with some canola oil. Then I'm gonna sprinkle a little salt. Do you want to sprinkle a little salt? Sprinkle it on the food. Oh yeah, very good, very good, very good. Can you do it again? All right, good job. So while this is cooking, I need to get the oil going for the Brussels sprouts. And I'm gonna do, for the Brussels sprouts, I'm gonna do this method that I've done in a previous video where I made tacos with Brussels sprouts. This is my way of frying Brussels sprouts. I basically pour about an inch of oil into my little Dutch oven here, and you'll see how I do it in batches. I'm gonna make the glaze for this squash as well. So 1/4 of a cup of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of the cooking wine. I imagine you could use other kinds of cooking wine and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And a tablespoon of rice vinegar and about a tablespoon of sugar, and then yeah, I'm cooking it. Are you having a snack? Yeah. Yeah, do you like that? Okay, then I've got some minced scallions here. And I'm going to use about half of my minced ginger and about half of my minced garlic. These will be for after the squash cooks and after it's glazed. All right, the idea is that we're going to cook it down to a glaze. Okay, next we'll make the sauce for the Kung Pao Brussels sprouts. Okay, so we're gonna do about a tablespoon of soy sauce. I'm using light soy sauce, which is actually saltier than dark soy sauce, weirdly. And a tablespoon of the Chongqing vinegar. And a tablespoon of the Shaoxing wine. And a tablespoon of sugar. Maybe a little bit more because of the Brussels sprouts. I like sweetness with Brussels sprouts. A pinch of white pepper or a shake. A teaspoon of cornstarch as a thickener. Then we're gonna add a little water to it so that it doesn't just immediately evaporate when it hits the hot pan. Like 2 tablespoons or so. It'll cook off really quickly. Alright, I can put these things away. Oh, I didn't do sesame oil. Oops. A teaspoon of sesame oil, thereabouts. Yeah, I'll do that. Alright, so the oil is definitely hot. I'm gonna turn on the hood vent. I've got a little bowl here with some paper towel in it, and as I pull off the cooked sprouts, they'll go into the bowl, and then I'll season them and then layer in more paper towels, hoping to keep a certain amount of crispness before we finish. I put the lid on as soon as I put it in. Turn the heat up a little bit. You can crack it to vent some steam, but this way you avoid getting popped, because no matter how dry your Brussels sprouts are, they're gonna pop like crazy when they hit the hot oil. It looks like the glaze is starting to thicken up. Alright, it should after a while get to the point to where it's not really popping. Then you can kind of agitate it, move it around, get it browning better. Keep the heat nice and high. Ah, thank you. Cheers. Excellent. Alright, I think the glaze is thick. When it cools off, it's going to be quite thick. Here in a second, we'll flip the squash over in the oven. Starting to get some color. I have kind of bad luck with kabocha squash, and as you can see, this one is definitely a little underripe. But I often end up feeling like it's too dry, like it dries out in the oven, like it's too starchy somehow. Hopefully this this glaze will work some magic in that way. Alright, so that's pretty good looking color on these. I'm gonna try to drain off as much oil as possible. I'm gonna do a little bit of seasoning. There's gonna be a sauce too, the sauce we mixed up, but I'm seasoning the sprouts as we go a little bit. That's annoying. Alright. done several batches of the Brussels sprouts. I'm about to put the final batch in and then sort of finish both dishes and get it to the table. Actually, before this starts, let's just deal with the glaze. Set this aside. And I'm gonna try this Kenji Lopez trick. Get that heating up. Before I do anything else, I'm gonna toast these Szechuan peppercorns for a sec. And I can bash those up in a sec. All right, we got garlic and ginger and some peppers, some dried chilies. Trying to separate out the stuff that's going on the squash. Where did, aha. Add a little bit more oil and the veg. Got a red bell pepper, an orange bell pepper, and a couple of celery stalks. I just tossed the chili out. Doing a little bit of salt. Is that a Sazerac?
It is a Sazerac.
Alright, so I've got like some chopped up scallions and peanuts that are gonna go in for just a sec right before I put in the sauce. And at this point, we're gonna add the Brussels sprouts. Bring this down a little bit. Try a bite. Well, I think it needs a little more salt. And I would like a touch more sesame oil.
degrees.
Okay, for how many minutes?
Now we're gonna add some salt.
I'm adding some scallions to the top here, along with a little bit of minced garlic and onion that I couldn't separate from it, but I'm sure that's just fine.
Man, you have gotten.
Oh yeah.
Video for me how to make that.
All right, so I'm gonna take one bite of the Kung Pao Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts are still a little bit crispy, and everything else is crunchy. And even though there's no meat, there's a significant amount of fat because it's deep fried. So I feel like it does its thing. The kabocha squash. They're really good actually. A little bit starchy still, but the glaze helps a lot. All right, we're gonna eat dinner. Thanks for stopping by. See ya.